For someone whose previous experience with sustainability was driven by quite fragmented knowledge and general enthusiasm rather than any formal systematic commitment, the first two sessions were as much insightful and revelatory for me as they were disconcerting. Though I suppose that anyone who's ever experienced a good kick down the Dunning-Kruger path of self-awareness can sympathize with such a humbling overhaul of their assumptions and beliefs. With all the new perspectives in mind, I couldn't help but question whether it is at all possible to ever reconcile our efforts on all fronts of sustainability as outlined by the SDGs. Because environmental health, social equity, or economic welfare cannot be prioritized over each other on a global scale, but striving for all three equally is a daunting task when even their underlying frameworks contradict. Ecology, for example, takes little interest in who or what needs to be sacrificed to make amends for the tremendous damage done already, boiling down to a fairly straightforward set of calculations. The spaceship Earth or the lifeboat ethics work well in this dimension because being exclusive with who is invited on board is indeed one way to ensure the survival of the natural world for the future generations, given the current levels of growth. The same distressing logic is evident in the notorious Ulrich equation, which prescribes environmental stability so long as the population and its overall affluence are within a certain limit, with a subtle message that there is simply not enough capacity for everyone to thrive. And that is not to mention that the economics of growth, with its strongly positive time preference and overall love for discounting distant future events, is also generally devoid of ethical concerns. It is the issue of social justice then that demands the most reconciliation, because whichever ethical theory you pick, a strong case for a fair distribution of opportunities can be made. Even ethical egoism would denounce prosperity achieved at the expense of others, and John Rawls's veil of ignorance makes it ever clearer that the interests of the future generations cannot be disregarded too. You wouldn't know your date of birth from behind the veil, after all. But at the same time, it is quite clear that moral justifications will only get us so far, because with a clear aptitude to seek instant gratification and undervalue distant events, we overwhelmingly prefer to live beyond our means than to listen to our moral compass. However, I want to believe that it is exactly this discrepancy that will force our human ingenuity to come up with ways to make sustainability desirable rather than burdensome. And savvy ideas like tapping into the evolutionary tendencies to nudge people into more sustainable behaviors, or the eco-economic decoupling via circulating the economies are indeed living proof that we are in fact up to the task.